Welcome to our defense briefing show. Today we're diving into some fascinating stories from around the world. First up, in Northern Ireland, the Troubles-related deaths investigation is now handling more active murder inquiries than London's Metropolitan Police, with over 180 deaths under review. The Commission's chief, Sir Declan Morgan, is considering stepping down but remains committed to uncovering the truth, even amid concerns about government interference. Next, in the US, President Donald Trump announced that a formal declaration of war against drug cartels isn't necessary. The US military is ramping up its presence in the Caribbean, targeting traffickers with maritime and land operations. Despite some successes and ongoing strikes, the fight against drug trafficking remains complex, especially with warnings from Venezuela about potential unrest. Finally, in Gaza, aid groups warn that clearing the surface of bombs from the recent conflict could take up to 30 years. The region is described as a horrific unmapped minefield, with many lives lost or injured due to unexploded remnants. While surface clearance is possible within decades, full demining, especially underground, remains a daunting challenge. Please continue to stay tuned for more details. The BBC reports on the Troubles-related killings investigation in Northern Ireland, where the Independent Commission for Reconciliation and Information Recovery (ICRIR) is currently managing more active murder cases than London's Metropolitan Police, with 102 ongoing investigations involving 182 deaths. The body is handling cases from both unionist and nationalist families, including victims from the army and police, illustrating the complex and sensitive nature of the work. Sir Declan Morgan, the Chief Commissioner, expressed cautious optimism about recent political agreements between the British and Irish governments, emphasizing the importance of Irish cooperation and transparency. He also highlighted efforts to assist families like that of Sean Brown, a victim of loyalist violence, asserting the Commission's commitment to uncovering the truth and challenging government obstructions. In the United States, President Donald Trump discusses the escalating efforts to combat drug cartels, asserting that a formal declaration of war is unnecessary. Instead, he emphasizes targeted operations, including military strikes in the Caribbean and on land, to eliminate drug traffickers, with a blunt declaration: "We're going to kill them." Trump's approach involves increased military presence and precision strikes, even against vessels near Venezuela, aiming to disrupt drug trafficking routes. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro warns of potential mass insurrection if U.S. intervention occurs, signaling the high tensions surrounding U.S. anti-drug operations. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth defends the military tactics, comparing them to battlefield practices in Iraq and Afghanistan, underscoring a strategy focused on swift, decisive action without formal war declarations. The situation in Gaza, as detailed by aid organizations and international agencies, remains dire following recent conflicts. The U.S.-brokered ceasefire has ignited hope for beginning the monumental task of clearing unexploded ordnance from the region, but experts warn it could take 20 to 30 years to fully clear the surface of Gaza from bombs and landmines. Humanity and Inclusion's Nick Orr describes Gaza as an unmapped minefield with remnants of war causing ongoing casualties and injuries. The challenge is compounded by restrictions on importing necessary equipment due to Israeli security concerns, delaying essential clearance efforts. Humanitarian groups are preparing to identify and address war remnants, emphasizing that surface clearance is feasible within a generation, but subterranean threats will persist for decades, making Gaza's recovery a slow and painstaking process. The CBC reports on the tragic death of Dr. Agron Elijah, a dedicated family physician and associate professor at London's Schulich School of Medicine and Dentistry, who was killed in a head-on collision on Fanshawe Park Road. Elijah, a Kosovo immigrant who fled during the Kosovo War, had a storied career marked by compassion and service, including work as a translator during the conflict and helping refugees. His loss is deeply mourned by his community, especially the Albanian Canadian Society, which highlights his professionalism and devotion to his patients, leaving behind a grieving family. The police continue their investigation, appealing for witnesses with dashcam footage to uncover the circumstances of this profound tragedy. The Australian Broadcasting Corporation discusses Australia's unwavering commitment to the AUKUS Security Pact amidst the ongoing international debates. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese reaffirmed Australia's full support, emphasizing that recent statements from US officials, including President Trump's endorsement, have alleviated doubts about the alliance. Despite the lack of detailed specifics, the alliance supporters are buoyed by promises of cooperation on nuclear submarines and military technology, with plans to produce vessels in the early 2030s. However, questions remain about the industrial capacity and financial costs, with estimates reaching hundreds of billions of dollars. The review process underway in the Pentagon may lead to adjustments, but Australian leaders remain confident that the partnership will proceed as planned, reinforcing their strategic security amidst the complex geopolitical landscape. The Sydney Morning Herald highlights actionable lifestyle habits that may lower the risk of developing Parkinson's disease, which now affects over 8.5 million people worldwide. Experts point to simple behaviors such as drinking coffee or tea, which contain caffeine that reduces oxidative stress and inflammation in the brain, potentially lowering disease risk. Additionally, avoiding exposure to harmful chemicals like TCE and PCE, common in dry cleaning and contaminated water, can make a difference, especially for those in high-risk environments like military bases with polluted water supplies. Reducing pesticide exposure through organic foods and installing water filters can also diminish risk, as pesticides have been linked to increased Parkinson's incidence. While there's no cure, these lifestyle modifications offer a proactive approach to potentially prevent this neurological disorder, emphasizing that Parkinson's is not an inevitable consequence of aging. BBC reports that a comprehensive investigation has been launched into allegations of sexual abuse involving army recruits across the UK, dating from the 1970s to 2016. Police authorities, notably wheelchair police, are actively seeking witnesses and victims who may have experienced inappropriate conduct during medical examinations at various army locations. The investigation has uncovered multiple potential perpetrators and is reaching out to affected individuals, emphasizing that no suspects have yet been identified. The Ministry of Defense and military leadership have publicly condemned any form of sexual misconduct, reaffirming their commitment to ensuring a safe and respectful environment for all service members, with officials like Lieutenant General David Eastman emphasizing that such behavior has no place in the British Army. Associated Press details the tumults surrounding Maine Democratic Senate candidate Graham Plattner, who has faced intense scrutiny over his past online comments and a tattoo resembling a Nazi symbol, despite issuing multiple apologies and covering up the controversial tattoo originally inked during his Marine service in Croatia. Plattner remains undeterred, asserting that the establishment is unfairly targeting him to derail his campaign. His supporters, including prominent figures like Bernie Sanders, continue to back him, dismissing the controversy as an attack on his character designed to undermine his bid to unseat long-standing Republican Senator Susan Collins. Meanwhile, Platner has accused political opponents of orchestrating the leaks and emphasized his resilience, framing his campaign as a fight against the entrenched political establishment. AP reports on Nigeria's military successfully killing over 50 Boko Haram militants in response to recent drone attacks on military bases in the northeast. The Nigerian army, supported by airstrikes, engaged militants who launched coordinated assaults from neighboring Cameroon and Yobe State, with ongoing efforts to pursue wounded fighters. Boko Haram, an insurgent group originating in 2009, has caused widespread devastation, including thousands of deaths and millions displaced, as it seeks to impose its radical Islamic ideology. The group split into factions after the death of its leader Abubakar Shekau, with the Islamic State West Africa province emerging as a prominent and deadly offshoot. The conflict continues to destabilize the region, prompting international support such as the recent U.S. approval of a $346 million arms sale aimed at strengthening Nigeria's security forces. The Columbus Dispatch reports that Sam O'Hara, a 35-year-old resident of Washington, D.C., has filed a lawsuit against Sergeant Devon Beck of the Ohio National Guard and 4 police officers, claiming his First Amendment rights were violated during his arrest in September. O'Hara, an outspoken critic of the deployment of National Guard troops in D.C., had been protesting their presence by walking behind them and playing the iconic Imperial March from Star Wars, a theme associated with Darth Vader, on his phone while recording the encounters for TikTok. On September 11th, as he returned home, O'Hara was confronted by Beck and other guardsmen patrolling his neighborhood, and despite his peaceful act, Beck allegedly threatened to call police if he continued, leading to O'Hara's arrest for playing the music. The lawsuit alleges that the arrest was an unjustified suppression of free speech, citing excessive force and false imprisonment, and emphasizes that the Ohio National Guard's deployment was under the control of Governor Mike DeWine, who directed the guards to defer to local police for arrests. After questioning whether his actions constituted a protest, police eventually detained O'Hara for 15 to 20 minutes before releasing him without charges, raising concerns about government overreach and the violation of constitutional rights in a protest that used satire to criticize military presence in urban neighborhoods. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopsis thoughtfully curated by the 6DO team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6DO Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6DO team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6DO Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6DO Brief via email.
Rise of empires, no end. Dragon is well. Blood and steel. Screams unheard. Profits real. In war crews cold. Fortunes made. Workers' fate in the shade. Currency war. Silent fight. Cradles burn. Black and night. Through the storm. Neon gleam. Economic power. night, somebody search, shadows play, rise of empires no end. Dragons roll, blood and steel, screams unheard. Prophets real, immortals cold, fortunes laid, workers' fate in the shade. Curse war, silent fight, cradles burn, black and night. Through the storm, the ugly economic power, through the sea. Curse war, silent fight, cradles burn, black and night. Through the storm, the ugly workers' fate in the shade. Curse war, silent fight, cradles burn, black and night. Through the spawn, the ugly economic power rules the sea. Contract sign, betrayals deep, backroom deals, ultra sleep, and popsicle leads insatiable crime. In this mental wasteland, dreams die. Contract sign, betrayals deep, backroom deals, vulture sleep, and popsicle leads insatiable crime. In this mental wasteland, dreams die. I can see